Welcome back to the Perfectly Homeless podcast. We're continuing with the State Homeless Score project. We are getting close to wrapping this project. Yeah, Stephen Ferry put together a spreadsheet with the data for the grand finale.
Yeah.
Trying to get him to do an interview. I think he'd be a lot of fun to chat with. So for those of you joining us, the mission today is to build a scorecard in real time to grade Washington's homeless efforts.
Right. We're taking all the data and building an evolving picture.
Exactly. And here's the thing for you listening. We are giving a score for the state's homeless efforts, and the score will evolve dynamically during the episode. It's not going to be revealed all at once at the end.
Yeah, we really want to see how the lived reality on the ground collides with the actual systemic infrastructure, step by step.
Let's start with a quick overview of the state. Washington's Department of Commerce has this 2025 snapshot report, and they found 158,791 people in emergency shelters or unhoused.
Which is just a massive number, especially when you consider the state has invested a historic $1.8 billion for the 2025 to the 2027 budget.
Wait, 1.8 billion?
Yeah. The money is definitely there, but the crisis is heavily entrenched. Now, the rate of growth has slowed down slightly. It was just a 2.2% increase from 2024 to 2025.
I mean, that's kind of like a sinking ship taking on water just a little bit slower, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's good news, but you're still completely underwater.
That's a great way to put it. And the geographic patterns are wild. Snohomish County's 2026 data shows a slight 5.8% drop in unsheltered populations. But then you look at King County's 2024 data.
King County is Seattle, right?
Exactly. They still have nearly 10,000 unsheltered people, and a massive 66% of them meet the criteria for chronic homelessness.
Wow. Well, let's open up the 6-category scorecard and see how they're handling this. Category 1 is housing affordability.
Right, the root of it all.
Yeah. If you look at that King County data, the primary drivers pushing people out are overwhelmingly economic. In the Seattle metro area, 45% reported job loss.
And in North King County, it jumps up to 55%.
Exactly. And right behind job loss is eviction. So we aren't just talking about complex behavioral issues. It's mostly immediate income loss.
And this is where that massive $1.8 billion investment just meets a brick wall. It sounds like an insurmountable amount of money, but the baseline math of affordability just overpowers the system.
Because the rent is just too high to catch people when they fall.
Right. Sudden income loss immediately equals homelessness. You just can't build housing fast enough to offset that gap.
Based on this, the current draft score is starting off with a low baseline grade due to the severe affordability gap.
Yeah, the math just doesn't work. Which brings us to category 2, shelter access.
Oh, this one is tough. The geographic disparities in King County are insane. In the Seattle metro, there are 1.9 unsheltered people for every shelter bed.
That's already bad, but
if you go to North King County, there are 9.6 people competing for one single bed.
that is a massive bottleneck. Now, Snohomish County did see a slight increase in sheltered folks recently, partly because the Tulakum tribes opened a pallet shelter.
Right, those are the tiny structures with actual locking doors, right?
Exactly, and the locking doors are a key detail, because we have to look at why people refuse traditional shelter. In King County, 27% of the unsheltered population lives in vehicles.
Which is a huge chunk.
It is. And if you live in an RV, abandoning your only remaining asset for a temporary cot in a room with 50 strangers makes no logical sense.
I mean, I wouldn't do it.
Right. Shelter rules create a massive barrier. There's a lack of secure storage, no personal space, curfews. It just doesn't work for vehicle residents.
Wow, this shifts the score slightly down.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to adjust the grade because there's just a total mismatch between what shelters offer and what vehicle residents actually need.
Yeah, it's a structural failure.
Yeah.
Which leads perfectly into category 3, criminalization and enforcement.
Because if the shelters don't work, they stay on the street.
Mm.
And the battles over RV parking are intense. In early 2023, Seattle impounded 1,441 RVs and campers in just 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah, mostly citing a 72-hour rule and expired tabs.
The legal tug-of-war here is fascinating. On one hand, you have the 2021 Long versus Seattle, Washington Supreme Court case.
Okay, what did that one do?
It protected homeless individuals from having their vehicle homes sold at auction to pay for, excessive impound fees, like a $550 fee.
Wait, I have a question. If a city can't sell your impounded home to pay the debt, how do the tow truck drivers get paid?
They don't. That's the thing. Tow companies started refusing to touch these RVs because they end up stuck with worthless vehicles on their lots.
But then you have the 2024 Potter versus City of Lacey case.
Right, where the Washington Supreme Court upheld a city's right to enforce a strict 4-hour parking limit for RVs.
So if they can't sell your home to pay the debt, but they can keep ticketing or towing you every 4 hours, aren't we just playing an incredibly cruel, expensive game of musical chairs?
That's exactly what's happening. It's a highly expensive enforcement loop that solves literally nothing.
Incredible. This lowers the overall picture significantly, adjusting the score down for those aggressive enforcement tactics.
It's just a punishing cycle.
Okay, we are at the midpoint score moment. For everyone listening, we are putting up the preliminary score overlay right now.
And we really need to clearly label this as the draft score.
Absolutely, draft score.
I want to emphasize heavily to you listening that this is not the final score. The remaining 3 categories deal with unique state interventions that could significantly change this result.
Right. So let's get into category 4, vehicle dwelling friendliness. We mentioned 27% of unsheltered people in King County are in vehicles, but there's this unregulated underground market of vehicle ranching.
Oh, yeah. The University of Washington documented this. Landlords, like this one guy Wynn in Seattle, basically rent broken down RVs to the homeless.
It's wild. They rent out immobilized, sometimes hazardous shells because people have no other options.
It's pure desperation. And contrast that with the local municipal response. Kirkland is pushing 13 RV households out of the Totem Lake neighborhood following the Supreme Court's Grants Pass ruling.
Though they are offering some outreach, right?
They are, but finding actual safe parking is nearly impossible. Church lots like Lake Washington UMC exist, but they strictly ban RVs.
Right. They only want cars. I read that Salmon Bay Village in Seattle is literally the only safe lot for RVs in the entire county.
Just one lot for thousands of people.
Yeah, updating the score dynamically here, the lack of RV infrastructure really hurts the grade.
It's a glaring hole in the system.
Let's pivot to the people on the ground with Category 5, outreach and social services. The demographics are severe. In King County, 51% reported disability.
And 34% have a serious mental illness.
Right. And Snohomish County's 2026 data shows 48.3% report mental health issues and 41.6% report substance use disorder. Plus, the racial disparities are huge, with Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, and Indigenous families vastly overrepresented.
They are. But measuring these overlapping vulnerabilities is notoriously hard. This is where Washington actually deserves a ton of credit.
Oh, because of the respondent-driven sampling, the RDS methodology?
Exactly. Instead of just counting people they can see, researchers use peer networks to find hidden homeless populations.
So the unhoused community members basically act as researchers themselves.
Yes. They take the survey and then recruit their peers. It's mathematically brilliant. It's a massive strength for the state because you can't fix what you can't accurately measure.
Amazing. This raises the overall picture. We are rewarding the state's score for that exceptional data gathering and outreach.
It's definitely world class.
Okay, last one. Category 6, pathways to permanent housing. I want to look at that fantastic case study from Olympia.
The hospital route intervention.
Yeah. The city offered a temporary permit program for RVs that were blocking a hospital route, and then they literally bought the broken down RVs from the residents to scrap them.
Which is brilliant because a broken RV is a trap, not transportation.
Exactly. And they successfully moved 55 people directly into a tiny house village.
It proves that pathways can work when cities buy into creative solutions, but there's a monumental bottleneck.
The wait times.
Yes. The wait times for permanent supportive housing across the state remain just crushing. People get into a tiny house but have nowhere to go from there.
Right, updating the evolving score dynamically for the last time based on that bottleneck. So that brings us to the final summary.
Let's recap it.
The major strengths for Washington are definitely the historic $1.8 billion funding, the innovative RDS data mapping, and creative buyback programs like we saw in Olympia.
But the major weaknesses are stark. The aggressive, expensive RV impounding, the severe lack of RV-friendly safe parking, and those crippling behavioral health statistics.
Right. So I'm going to formally assign the final category grades. For housing affordability, a D.
Makes sense.
Shelter access gets a C-.
Yeah.
Criminalization and enforcement is an F.
Absolutely F.
Vehicle dwelling friendliness, D-. Outreach and social services is a B+.
Their best category by far.
And pathways to permanent housing gets a C. So what is the final score?
Well, tabulating all of that, the final perfectly homeless state score for Washington is a C-.
A C-. Give us the final thought on why they landed there.
Washington receives this score because they are trapped in a contempt versus compassion paradox.
Explain that.
They possess world-class data and funding. They spend millions measuring the crisis perfectly with deep compassion, yet simultaneously they spend millions treating people with contempt, towing their only shelter from block to block.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't fix a crisis when your left hand shows compassion and your right hand shows contempt.
That's the perfectly homeless state score for Washington. Thank you for tuning in, Claire. If you find the series interesting, please tap the like and subscribe buttons, and we will see you in the next state. If you'd like to support the project, click on over to the Perfectly Homeless Etsy store and get yourself a warm hoodie with our logo, or you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/perfectlyhomeless. Every purchase and donation helps fund future episodes in this 50-state journey through homelessness in America. Wear the logo. Start a conversation. Because homelessness isn't someone else's problem anymore. It's happening in every state, every city, and more neighborhoods than most people realize. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I'll see you in the next episode.